This is Tadeusz.
And Joanna, and we want to welcome you on another day of Outriders Festiwal.
Today we present you our conversation with Julen Hernandez Lallement. We will be talking about his research on empathy in rats and what we as humans can take from it. So if you could tell us a bit about your background, what put you in the place before the experiment on the rats and what made you do this particular experiment, the road to this point.
Okay, so my background is I'm a neuro and a data scientist. So I worked for a very long time on all types of data related to how the brain works and functions. So I studied neuroscience at the university, and this is where I really started getting interested into how the brain computes things from the outside. And slowly the work that I did in my master and in my first job before my PhD in a laboratory in Bonn in Germany brought me in contact with social neuroscience. So really how the brain reacts to social stimuli, so the presence of others, actions of others, and emotions of others, and how like the whole question of how do we react to those stimuli. I found those questions highly interesting, so then I decided to take that path for my PhD. And this is where I started working as well with animals, not just with humans. And slowly this brought me to the path of trying to use rats to understand how the brain in rats, but also then by extension in humans, behaves in social situations and contexts.
I see. And what research did you do on humans?
In humans, so that was the work I did in Bonn in Germany. That was my first project on social neuroscience, and what I was wondering was whether people when people give money to charity, when they do something good, what happens in the brain? Do they have a warm glow feeling, or really this is rewarding per se because they did something good for others? Or is this, so what kind of signal do we see in the brain when people give money to charity? And we did a whole study trying to make people work for money. So by trying to solve very complicated mathematical equations, they would earn money, and then they could decide to give that money, yes or no, to a charity. And then we saw that when people made effort, so they really worked for the money, and then they decided to give it away, that's created more reward signals in the brain, suggesting that when you worked for something, you value it a bit more, and then in a later point, when you give that money away, then it makes you feel even better. In comparison to money you just find on the street and then you give to someone, this is something you don't find as rewarding. And this was really this whole like social context of charitable donations and how the brain reacts to that. And that brought me then to working with the rats and the whole idea of pro-social behavior. Why do people help others? Why do they engage into this costly donations or costly behaviors to help others? Yeah.
Why did you change from the line of work with humans to the rats? What was the main factor?
For me, it was mostly, I think, maybe curiosity at first. I mean, I had mostly worked with humans by then. In the studies, what you study in university mostly is human brain. And when I found this laboratory in Düsseldorf, it was then in Germany, that proposed a project in rats, I found that very interesting because that would give you more of an evolutionary point of view on how social behavior could have evolved, right? If you look at more than one species, then you could, try to understand where is it rooted. Is it purely human? Because we humans tend to think or believe that there is so many that is unique to us only, like empathy, sympathy, pro-social behavior as well is something that we believe is only present in humans. And I found that interesting to see whether this was happening in other species than humans. And of course, we already knew by then that other species engage in pro-social behavior. But for me, very personally, I found it very interesting to do that research myself and find out more about